Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 151 of the Citrix Session. I'm your host, Andy Whiteside. Today is December 4th, 2024. I've got Bill Sutton and Monica Griesemer with me. Bill, how's it going?
Going well, Andy.
You, how's the arm?
It's still cast, still wrapped. I'll get it off on Wednesday, hopefully.
And I'm sorry, what did you do?
Tore a tendon in my elbow. Moving furniture for my parents.
So did you try to move the whole couch by yourself, or did you just pick up a end table and there it went?
No, I was holding the end of the couch and we were moving it off a truck and it slipped out of my brother's hands and I bore the brunt of the force. My left arm was flexed, holding the end of it, and I felt it pop when it did. It didn't pop the whole tendon. It was what they call a high grade partial tear, which means more than 50%. So I had to have surgery.
Well, it'll be better than new. Maybe.
Yeah, if it had popped entirely, that would have been a whole different ballgame, probably.
Well, Monica's with us. Monica, any pre-holiday elements on your side?
Yeah, good to be here. I mean, I don't have anything as exciting or painful as, popping a tendon in my arm, but definitely had a festive weekend. Got to see Santa and Mrs. Claus this weekend. I didn't know that they were rolling up to Central Illinois, yet here they were. So yes, very exciting. Took my niece and nephews to let Santa and Mrs. Claus know what they wanted for Christmas. So we're getting in the holiday spirit.
If that were those were your kids or somebody else's kids, at least
not my kids.
Somebody's kids involved. My youngest one is 14, so I'm out of the Santa Claus phase, and I'll tell you what, I am glad to be out of the Santa Claus phase.
Right.
It's cute for a while, but I did it for 21 years. So I'm ready.
I'm sure it gets old.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's the commercial time. So if you are a Citrix customer and you're not getting everything out of the platform you can, let us know, because we know there's an opportunity to get engaged and help you guys. I just was talking to a client a minute ago who's dealing with one of the big consulting firms, and I just had to subtly tell them, hey, there's no way you're getting the quality of service you need out of the Citrix environment if you're dealing with one of those big players. You're just another customer to those guys, and we believe we can help you more. The blog Monica brought today to review is from October 9th. It's the top 5 Citrix cost optimization tools you need to use. Monica, well, let me start with Bill on this. Bill, pretty much a given that Citrix has the best technology in this space, correct?
Yes, for sure.
If that's the case, why doesn't everybody use it?
That's a really good question. I mean, some of it is a perception of cost, a higher cost. Some of it is perception of higher complexity, but things have gotten really simple, a lot simpler than they were. Yeah. Especially the first one we're going to touch on, which we'll get to in a minute.
Yeah, but it's mostly cost, right? They don't use it because it costs too much, but they don't even know, they haven't done the research on what their existing PC rollout costs. So how do they know this is expensive?
That's a good point. And it kind of comes under the category of you get what you pay for too at the same time.
So Monica, does that line of conversation align with why you put this blog together, or why did you put the blog together?
Absolutely. So we do get that feedback, right? That we are a premium product. We can do basically anything you want us to do. And with that can come some complexity, and sometimes does come a higher price point. But the thing is, with the amount of capabilities that we offer and with the optimizations that we offer, the value, we've done loads and loads of value research, and the actual cost actually ends up being lower than having a bunch of disparate products to deploy your environments. Sure. And we have cost optimization tools to help you with the cloud consumption costs, not just, the upfront costs you might have and might see, but there are ongoing intangible and tangible costs that we want to help with. So some of you listening today might know of some or all of these tools, but there's a lot of folks out there, as we cover the 5 tools that we're going to talk about today, or just the capabilities that are built into the product, that it's news to people, even though I know, the 3 of us are no strangers to talking about all of these items on this list. Some of these might be news, and just getting you thinking of ways that you can optimize your environments and optimize the technology you already have.
Yeah. Well, look, there's plenty of things in that optimization conversation that I don't know about Citrix, and I'm involved in it a lot. All right. So maybe just cover this first paragraph here. I think we've kind of covered some of it maybe, but can you just kind of recap what you're covering in this first section?
Yeah, just kind of teeing up the capabilities. I mean, there's a ton of capabilities that we consistently roll out. I mean, if you go back to the last 3 podcasts we did together, it was just talking about the capabilities that Citrix rolled out in Q3. So we know that, and sometimes you miss some along the way, but we have features across cloud, hybrid, and on-premises solutions that can help optimize costs. So wanted to tee up too that all of these capabilities aren't just specific to cloud or on-prem. It's really for our hybrid folks.
Right. All right. So the first one is, and Bill was excited. So Bill, you kind of foreshadowed this one. The first one, number one, Citrix provisioning and machine creation services. Bill, why did you kind of jump ahead and want to talk about that one a little bit? What does it mean?
Well, I mean, that's one of the biggies. I mean, because this is helping you control the costs and deployment of actual machine objects, whether it's in a cloud or on premises. And obviously, Citrix Provisioning Services has a long history at Citrix. I was involved with it before it was even acquired by them, and saw the value of it. Back then it was a bit more complex than it is now, and they've tweaked a lot of things to it and made it very efficient. It's not appropriate for every situation. But particularly for the larger deployments and those where there's a desire for very, very quick turnaround time of updates and deployments. And then they came out, I guess, around the VDI timeframe with machine creation services, which is essentially a VM/storage construct that creates temporary copies of the VMs. And really, these things are really designed to help you optimize the delivery of the workloads, which along with that comes the optimization of the cost of those workloads, especially in public clouds.
Does anyone on the market have something like provisioning services, period?
Not that I know of. Certainly machine creation services they do, but not PVS.
Yeah. I mean, that alone could be the justification for going the Citrix route. Monica, what are you trying to cover in this one?
Yeah, no, I think Bill stole my thunder there. Very, very glad to have him do so. This is teeing up provisioning services you might know as PVS, and that is, as you were saying, the proprietary kind of bread and butter of what Citrix has done for years now. And people think of this as just an on-premises provisioning, just making on-premises images, but we've actually added this to a number of cloud providers. I know we have it for Google. I know we've talked about it before. I'm losing track, but you can do this across your cloud and on-premises environments for a number of scenarios. And then MCS is kind of where we started when we started rolling into the cloud, that machine creation services provisioning in the cloud. And it's still obviously there today. It just depends on the use case and what your environment will do better with. Also, MCS plays really nicely into power management and auto scale, which we will get into later. And there's tools built into both PVS and MCS that you can leverage today to optimize costs. So if you're just doing kind of more outdated manual machine creation processes, it's definitely worth looking into these provisioning services to see if you can automate and streamline those processes for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, without a doubt, this is one of the most effective efficiency gainers in our space, and having both these options really proves to be valuable. Hybrid and multi-cloud deployments. Monica.
Yeah, this might seem basic, right? I jumped into the call saying this is across hybrid and multi-cloud, and the fact that I'm having a tool on the list as hybrid and multi-cloud might seem like a bit of a cop-out, but I'm gonna, say that the fact of having your environment be hybrid and be able to, say, burst to the cloud for disaster recovery scenarios is a huge deal for optimizing costs. The bigger thing here, too, that I want to press on is using the environments you already have, that on-premises infrastructure that you've already invested in, and then also leveraging hybrid, leveraging the cloud to be able to expand and not throwing away all of your infrastructure that you've already invested in. So not only are we helping with device lifecycle, right, the things you know of Citrix, but helping with your infrastructure lifecycle as well. So that's a big chunk that I wanted to get into, but at its basis, it's also talking about helping you manage private and public clouds and on-premises infrastructure in a single control plane. So not only is it the tactical, use the environment that you have today, but also the value of not having to go to multiple management consoles and saving time by managing it all from one place. So I know there's a lot wrapped in here, but that's why we wanted to call it out as a specific tool.
Yeah. I think part of that for me always is starting with the idea that when people say cloud, they typically mean public cloud. But if you can stop and get them to understand the different types of cloud, including your own data center that are out there, this ability of Citrix to embrace not only the management layer being in wherever you want it to be, but also the actual compute being in all the different places. That alone is a win for the customer who doesn't get locked into just a public cloud strategy, which in a lot of cases, especially for desktop workloads, is extremely expensive long-term. Bill, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously a key benefit of something like Citrix, and that is like Monica said, allowing the customer to continue to leverage an on-premises private cloud, if you will, environment. We have a lot of projects where we're helping a customer move from the on-premises version of Citrix Virtual Apps and Desktop to Citrix DaaS. And invariably, during the course of the design process for that, where their resource location or their workloads are running on premises, we typically find that they'll start asking questions about, could we do DR in the cloud? Well, yes, Mr. Customer, you can. Well, how involved is that? I don't really want to have to set up a bunch of infrastructure in the cloud. We have to pay for that. It's really pretty straightforward. A couple of cloud connectors and a workload, and just connect it into the control plane, which is centralized. And you're largely off and running. You may be able to leverage the images you have on premises, depending on what they're running in. But the point is that Citrix gives you the flexibility to be able to leverage the hyperscalers or the various clouds, whether you're talking about Azure or AWS or GCP, for your primary workloads or secondary workloads or all of the above. And that flexibility is key, especially when customers start talking about business continuity and disaster recovery, or they want to go all in the cloud. It's just that having that flexibility is key to making demonstrating the value of the solution.
And Bill, I'll double down on that. The DR business continuity conversations, I almost never have a customer that doesn't see this capability as being a value add for that conversation versus the legacy way they're doing it, which is basically rebuilding everything in a second environment, which makes no sense at this point.
Exactly. And that's the way they used to do it. And that's the mindset for some customers that aren't that well versed on cloud concepts, and being able to explain to them that, hey, no, you don't have to have all that storage and compute and all those other things in the other data center and multiple control planes. You can do it with one and just define a resource location in a cloud and be done with it. I mean, it's not quite that simple. There's still some infrastructure pieces like profiles and things you have to build, but it's nothing like it was back in the day.
And the financial win that goes along with that is just easily justifiable.
I also want to throw in there, I know you both were bringing up the management plane and the compute, right? You think of the compute on the big hyperscalers, putting your workloads into those hyperscalers. Also from the Citrix side, from the alliances side as well, we work really closely with Google, AWS, and Azure, obviously. And if you have commit dollars with those vendors, maybe you have a specific vendor of choice, then you can actually use in many cases your commit dollars with those vendors to buy Citrix licensing as well and to work more closely together. So optimize some of that commitment that you already have to get those Citrix licenses and implement it. So that's kind of a plug for our alliances and the strength of it, and being able to work with those big players and all of us work together to get you the best deals and put your infrastructure where you want to put it.
Yeah. All right, moving on. The next one is number 3, AutoScale. Monica, just a quick refresh on what AutoScale is and how it becomes something that cost justifies, buying Citrix and using Citrix.
Absolutely. I think AutoScale is probably the feature that we say first when talk about cost optimization. It's probably the most tangible thing that we can showcase from a inside of the console. So what autoscale does is it is schedule-based scaling and or load-based scaling for your resources. So you can, and this is a cloud-based feature that we've actually also brought to on-prem. So you can either set distinct times for your machines to power on and off. Maybe you've got workers doing 9 to 5. So that's the schedule-based scaling. But something that really sets our autoscale capabilities apart are those load-based scaling. So that's for your unpredictable workloads. You can set a buffer of how many workloads or how many machines you want running to be able to have your users jump on, and maybe there's a peak that you weren't aware of, but there's always a buffer at the front to make sure enough machines are running for your users at any given time. But if there's a lull, then your machines power down. And it's kind of one of those automagic things that happens inside of the Citrix console. And it shows you tangibly how much money autoscale itself is saving you. It is built into your editions of Citrix. If you're not using it today, I highly recommend.
Bill, you have working examples of this?
Yeah, we've got a number of customers that are obviously leveraging this. This is a key feature, particularly when you're dealing with cloud, but also with on-premises. This is really an extension or expansion, I guess, of the old power management concepts that were present in the older versions, and giving you the ability to spin up and spin down machines based on various criteria. So we have a lot of customers that are using this, and one thing that I think this article may have predated Monica, one that we talked about a couple of weeks ago about the whole concept of suspend and resume. You couple that in with auto scale capabilities, and you've got a whole different ballgame here now, where instead of powering off, you can suspend a machine, leveraging the auto scale algorithms, and then when that machine comes back much more quickly than it would if it was starting from scratch, you're right back where you were without having to go through a reboot.
No. And guys, you know more than I do about this. Is the Citrix's ability, the auto scale feature set, greater than the others? I know a lot of people have kind of followed suit here, but the ability to do it, number one, on-prem as well as in the cloud, that's a game changer. But then also the feature set within the Citrix world, how does that stack up? I mean, we talked about the suspend one from a minute ago. That's something others aren't doing at this point.
I can't do a 1v1 comparison. I know that we have been doing this for years, and there's always, like, at quarter after quarter, there's auto scale features. So yes, I know other organizations are coming out with similar capabilities, but just even in this list alone, we've got things like idle time, disconnect time, power off delay, force log off, and cost of a virtual machine per hour features, so that you can optimize and visualize those cost differences. So I think that really sets us apart too. The visualization and being able to say, hey, here's how much money we've saved by using this. But I don't know a 1v1 comparison. Bill, I don't know if you have any more information there.
Yeah, there are other vendors obviously that do this, and some do it reasonably well. The base capabilities that you get in most of the platforms, whether they're on premises or hyperscaler oriented, don't offer near the features that this offers. The things like you said earlier, load-based scaling, where you can scale up, an individual multi-user machine and then spin up additional machines as the load increases. A lot of the base algorithms that you get from some of these other platforms don't include any of that functionality. You've got to buy an add-on from the vendor, or you should invest in something like Citrix to help you accomplish those objectives.
So number 4 on the list is workspace environment management, which a lot of people refer to as WIM all the time. Monica, just a quick recap on what WIM is and how that's a cost-saving opportunity.
Yeah, WIM can help your management of your environment kind of in a number of ways. I like how we open this section of, based on a WIM engineer study, it can help your server scalability by up to 70%, which is amazing in and of itself. And it helps you take control of your consumption and spending, but also improve end user experience. So it helps with server scalability by optimizing things like RAM, CPU, and IOPs inside of the environment, but also it can do things like reduce logon times. So this is something that is helping give productive time back to your users is a cost optimization tool as well. If users are sitting there waiting for their Citrix to load, saying my Citrix is slow, all of this, that's a productivity time suck. So bringing that back to your users and giving them that time, reducing that logon time and getting them time to value is a huge benefit as well. So WIM can do a ton of optimizations, and there are probably more tools than I can even cover today inside of there.
Well, I bet Bill can jump in on that one. Bill, your thoughts on WIM and where it adds value financially?
Well, yeah, adding value. Monica hit it on the head there. I mean, in one case, obviously, the ability to put policies in place, leveraging WIM to optimize the CPU spike and memory consumption, obviously, is where the scalability it improves scalability. But beyond that, in conjunction with profile management capabilities that Citrix builds into the platform, they can, like Monica said, reduce logon times as well. We find that in most projects where we bring this up, the customer wants it. Often it's just for the CPU and memory optimization functionality and features, which helps them improve density. And then what happens is it's kind of like one of those Trojan horses. You put it in there for one thing, and then it ends up being used to do profile management, and then maybe it's used to, customize a desktop. There's so many other pieces and parts of WIM that can optimize the user's environment. That's why it's called an environment manager. That go well beyond just CPU and memory, but CPU and memory are often where we get the platform in to help improve density. It's a real solid platform that they've improved significantly over the years.
Yeah, virtual in the cloud, virtual in your data center, virtual in somebody's data center like ours. If you're not taking advantage of that ability to optimize CPU and RAM, IOPS, then you're just wasting technology.
Yes.
Well, also throw out there, I think we talked about on our last podcast, we have improved the management console. So not only the functionality, but the look and feel of the console itself. And we have brought that capability, I think in tech preview right now, to on-premises as well. So you might be like, okay, the look and feel, but the thing is, with something like WIM that can do as much as what we were just rattling off in the last couple of minutes, having a great user interface where you can find where the optimizations are is a big deal. So we have really improved that. And then with the web-based interface, our awesome teams that do in-product messaging can do pop-ups and kind of help guide you where to get these optimizations done. And, our partners like XenTegra can help you click around in the console as well. But just having that improved interface as well, I'm hoping will get a lot more folks using this to its full potential.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, last one on the list, and probably where I'm going to be most excited. Not that the other ones aren't great, and that's around ServiceNow and integrating with the ITSM adapter. Monica, help us understand briefly what this is and where the financial benefits kick in.
Absolutely. Yeah, I just smiled, Andy, because I knew you always love bringing up the ITSM adapter on calls. So I knew this would be a big one for you. Yeah. For those of you that aren't familiar, our ITSM adapter for ServiceNow is a specific tool that integrates directly with ServiceNow, which I'd say the vast majority of our enterprise customers are leveraging for help desks. And
they're leveraging it for help desk ticketing systems. Of them, but for a lot of them, that's all they're doing with this powerful platform. Go ahead.
Okay. No, at its core, the ITSM adapter helps integrate with Citrix workloads and ServiceNow. So helps integrate tickets to be able to reset sessions, to be able to manage incidents within your Citrix environment, and to allow users to self-serve. That's a huge deal here. If a user session is idling or not working, I'm sure all help desks are familiar with them getting a call saying, hey, this isn't working, that's not working. Being able to self-serve and have the ITSM adapter have intelligent capabilities to do it directly within ServiceNow, and a user doesn't have to contact the help desk at all, saves huge amounts of time. In a study here, there's a healthcare provider that shows that manual resets could take up to 15 minutes for these doctors to be resolved with, the ticketing system and having to get a hold of help desks. But with the ITSM adapter, users can now perform a self-service reset in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
that's huge, right? Not only for time is money in the organization, but in a healthcare organization, time is literally life or death. So that is a huge deal to be able to optimize with this.
Yeah.
But Andy, I'll stop talking so you can talk all about the ITSM adapter, anything I missed.
I'll just add to it, and we would love to help you do that. And if you have ServiceNow, you have Citrix, and you haven't integrated the two together, you're wasting your money. There's so much opportunity. Bill, let's hear from you on your thoughts around the ITSM adapter.
Yeah, obviously the capabilities of this, like Monica was alluding to or indicating, relative to help desk calls is obviously very important and beneficial. But some of the other things that this does is the ability to help provision onboard users to the environment, offboard users from the environment, delete idle machines or machines that aren't being used anymore, based on rules to help optimize costs. So there's so much goodness in this tool that allows a company to leverage ServiceNow to integrate with Citrix and make a lot of decisions that ordinarily would be made by a help desk person or maybe even a level 2 person with respect to removing machines and things of that nature. But certainly the feature of being able to submit a help desk ticket and get it resolved quickly, maybe via a chat bot or something like that, is critical, especially in a healthcare environment.
Yeah, time is money. It's critical to save lives, and also time is money, and that healthcare stuff costs all of us a lot of money.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Bill, you're an active participant in the healthcare thing.
Yeah, for sure.
With the arm. Monica, just wrap it up for us, if you would.
Absolutely. So we just went through the top 5 features for cost savings. I hope that you all kind of got new insight or maybe a new thought on items you can use within your environments. At the bottom of this blog here, we have a white paper that encapsulates everything that we talked about today, but also something awesome is our tech brief. So our tech zone is getting better and better. We have a great team behind it, adding not only the product documentation of, hey, here's how to implement this thing, but more of the value of what our features bring. So the tech brief actually goes line by line through even more optimization tools for cost than what we probably have time to cover in a number of these podcasts. But I'm sure the tech marketing folks, gentlemen, might be able to come on and talk more about the brief, but it discusses line by line things in auto scale, things in WIM, HDX features, director that can help with cost optimization across your environments. Yeah. So there's more capabilities out there that I'm sure anyone is aware of or that you're using in your environment. So I just plug, please check it out, and please look at what new features you can incorporate today to help save you money.
And Bill, what cost saving factor would you put on happy users?
All of them, but all of them.
Right.
But obviously, happy users is going to come down to optimization of the workload, improving logon times, improving response times, and all of that goes back to a lot of these factors. Certainly WEM is a big one of those. And then, of course, when you look at something like the ITSM adapter and the ability to resolve issues much more quickly, that's key. But I think when you're talking about the end user, their user experience is key. DEX. The user experience is key for them, and so that's where we do focus. When we're doing these things is to optimize it so the end user experience is as solid as possible.
I don't remember which credit card it was, but at some point in the not too distant past, there was a credit card commercial where, and at the end of the day, happy user or whatever it was, it's priceless. I don't remember what it was. It was priceless,
right?
I think it was MasterCard.
Yeah. So all this cost saving is very, very important for justifying it. But at the end of the day, why, don't put a solution in front of your users that's going to make them unhappy, because no matter cost savings is going to be worth justifying that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, guys, I appreciate it, and look forward to talking to you a couple more times before the holidays, when we all check out and go take a nap.
Yeah. Okay.
Nap sounds good, but always a pleasure talking to you both. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Monica.